Hello, this is a prelude to today's substandard episode of Into Your Head podcast. Today's substandard episode of Into Your Head podcast isn't very good. Well, the first half is quite good. The second half, as far as I'm concerned, is a load of crap. But I put it out anyway. Because there was nothing last week, and I'll be away for a couple of days later this week. What else? Well, frankly, it's all I have at the moment. It'll have to do for now until I can come up with something further to supersede it, or whatever you call it. Anyway, suffice to say, this is a thing. It's just not a thing of the highest quality ever. So if you're new to the show, listen to the previous thing, not this thing. Listen to the if you're one of those people who just listen to any old crap, then I've got the any old crap for you right now. I've got it here. You can feel free to claw it out of my cold dead hands. In fact, you can grab it out of my live warm hands here, metaphorically of course. Metaphorically of course. Something metaphorically of course. Metaphorically of course. Metaphor. You see what I mean about this being a substandard episode? Anyway, don't say you haven't been warned. Into your head, into your head, into your head, into your head, into your head. Two cats walk into a bar. One of the cats goes straight up to the bar counter and says, "Hello, can I have a pint of your finest Guinness, please?" And the man behind the bar says, "Yes, you can. And the cat says, "Oh, good." And the barman says, "Oh, yes, it is good. It's good for everyone. It benefits you. It makes you happy. You get what you want from it. And I get paid out of the transaction. I get what I need out of it too, so I earn a living." Not to say that the cost of 1 pint of milk being sold to a cat is the be-all and end-all of my living, but it's all these little bits add up. If enough cats come in here and order a pint of beer off me, and then the cat interrupts and says, "No, I said Guinness, not beer. Guinness is stout, it's not beer." And the man behind the bar says, "I beg your pardon." And the cat says, "You said something about beer. I ordered Guinness. I just wanted to make sure you were clear on that, because Guinness is stout. I thought you might be accidentally pouring me out of beer." And the man behind the bar says, "Oh no, don't worry about that. Beer is a thing we use as an overriding umbrella name for everything, including stouts, ales, beers, lagers, the whole lot of them. So don't worry, you haven't forgotten that you ordered a Guinness. In fact, you can see here, I have half your Guinness here in a glass already, and I'm holding it under the big top labelled Guinness." And cat says, "Oh, I'm a cat, I can't read." And the man behind the bar says, "Oh, I suppose fair enough, but you can read a picture, can't you? You can read an image of big Guinness coming out into a glass. That's not even a picture, it's real Guinness coming into a real glass. You don't need to be able to read to see that, do you, surely?" And the cat says, "Well, it's funny you should mention that. I know when you humans say that you can't read, you mean you can't figure out written language. But no, when we cats say that we can't read, what we're saying is it's an overreach riding thing. We can't, we can be looking at something and not be able to figure out what it is or what it means. So I could be looking at you pulling a pint of Guinness. The Guinness could be pouring out into the glass, and I could be staring at that for 5 minutes and still not know what it means." And the man behind the bar says, "Christ, that never occurred to me." And the cat says, "It never occurred to me either. I just made it up just now." Oh, don't be fucking ridiculous. Of course I can see Guinness landing in a glass. Jesus Christ, man, what's wrong with you? And the man behind the bar says, "Oh, that's very funny. It must be April Fool's Day, is it?" And the cat says, "No, it's not April Fool's Day. You can be an idiot any day of the year. It doesn't have to be the 1st of April for you to be an idiot." And the man behind the bar says, I suppose that's true. Anyway, that'll be €4.86, please." And the cat cat says, will it now? Will it indeed? And the man behind the bar says, indeed it will, both indeed and in fact. Although I suppose those are both the same things, aren't they? Well, not really, because indeed means a deed is something that you do. A fact is something that just is. You don't have to be doing something for something to be a fact. And the cat says, I didn't come here for a lecture on frigging the English frigging language. I'm just here to have a frigging pint of Guinness. And the man behind the bar says, okay, everybody calm down. Take a chill pill. Although keep them behind your backs, because those things are illegal in here. I don't want to lose my license. And the cat says, so why would you lose your driving license over people taking chill pills in your bar? And the man behind the bar says, no, I mean my bar operator's license. Are you American or something? Because I know you Americans, you like the way you say, oh, I got my license, and you just assume that everyone knows that you mean your driving license. Well, over here in the real world, we have licenses for all sorts of different things. We have television licenses, dog licenses, which ironically are issued to humans and not dogs. What else have we? Although now that you mention it, can a dog get a dog license? What if the dog has a dog? And the cat says, is that Guinness ready yet? And the man behind the bar says, no, it's not. And the cat says, well, why you ask me for money then? And the man behind the bar says, I'm just trying to be efficient. When you're pouring a Guinness, you pause before you fill up the glass to the end. You have a little pause, so I thought I'd use that pause to complete the financial part of the transaction while we wait for the Guinness to be finished. It's not unreasonable, is it? Surely it's a barmen the world over do that, especially with Guinness, because it's a very slow process. And the cat says, oh, I'm not familiar with bars the world over. This is my first time ever in a bar. And the man behind the bar says, oh, is it really? Well, I have to say, you're doing remarkably well for a first time bar visitor. I take it all back. And the cat says, oh good. Well, here's your money, so. And the man behind the bar says, oh, thank you very much. And are you going to give me your money for the beer as well? And the cat says, no, I meant here's the money for the. No, it's not your money, but it is now, because I'm giving it over to you as part of the transaction. And the man behind the bar says, oh, I see. Right you are. Well done. And a great night is had by all. We've a lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to. Issues that need to be addressed. Topics. Oh, topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively booming to the seams with topics. We've got topics coming out of this mouth. This mouthful region of my face. I've said that before recently. Well, I'm saying it again now. I said it before and I'll say it again. And I may well go back in time and say it again in the previous time to that, or in the past, I suppose you call it. Is that what you call previous time? The past. Suppose you do. We haven't really got a culture of time travel as yet, but when we do, I'm sure when I say I'm going to go and say it again before I said it for the first time, then we're going to have all sorts of new language for that. We're going to have to build extensions to the English language just to accommodate new things that can be achieved through time travel. We're going to have to build a big. It's going to be like when you extend a subway system in London or somewhere. You say, oh, we're building a new line that's going to go out that way. We're going to have to build a new extension to the English language. All sorts of new words are going to have to be created, probably organically. No one's going to sit down and say, let's make a list of words that we're going to start using from this year. No. Language evolves a lot more organically than that. Not to be confused with mouth organically. Mouth organ is not, strangely enough, mouth organ is not the same as bollocks. Bollocks to this. Fuck this for a game of soldiers. Nothing coming out. This is a recording failure. I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, Christ, it's going to be one of those episodes, is it? He's going to have one of his episodes. Well, that's the hope. I'm certainly hoping to create one of my episodes here. Episode 680 of Into Your Head podcast, to be exact. But no, not an episode in the other sense of the world. where mentally ill people say, I had an episode the other day, I went monster raving loony, and I went and shot people. I'm okay now. It was just a temporary thing. I had an episode. Well, this isn't a temporary episode. This episode is going to be hopefully around on the internet for many years to come. I'm going to put her up on archive.org and other places. It's going to be here long after I'm dead. So it's going to be more than just a temporary episode. But no, I can see why you'd be confused about that. Because you're a fucking idiot. That's why. You're a fucking stupid piece of shit. No offence, but no, you're a bit, not that there's anything wrong with, well, there is something wrong with that, in that it's a malfunction of your brain, but there's nothing morally wrong about what you're doing there. Just being stupid is not a crime, and it's not a sin. You can't help it. You don't choose to be stupid. Well, you choose maybe not to go and attend further education, but even that's not going to get you out of being stupid. It's just going to fill up your stupid malfunctioning brain with more stuff. Filling your brain up with stuff, just like you fill up a glass with beer. Filling a glass up with beer doesn't do anything. It's pouring the beer down your gullet that does something. You can transfer the beer from the bottle into the glass, and then into another glass, and then into, into a bowl, or back into a bottle, or into another can. It'll have no effect on you whatsoever until you pour it into your mouth. All these vessels are just, these vessels that you put the beer through, those are all just vessels. They're no more than our body, just like our bodies are just vessels. You pour a soul into the vessel, it's still soul, it's just in another vessel, the vessel of life, as they say. Maybe they don't, well, they do now. They say it, I've said that, so they say, I'm the day. People like to say, they say this, they say that. Well, I'm part of the day. I'm declaring today that I'm one of them. I'm the day who says stuff. You can be the day too. You can be one of the day. It's up to you. You just declare yourself to be one of the day, and then you're one of the day. Because the day is just a construct that we come up with. We say, they say this, they say that, they're going to do this. Just say we, and decide that you're one of the day. Unless you don't want to, in which case you're free not to do so. You're free not to do so. That's your liberty. Liberty, freedom of choice, and Wrangler jeans, as they used to say, or rather as we used. Well, I didn't used to say, because I was only a child then when that denim trousers ad was on the television. I wasn't one of the they, them. Then I wasn't ready to be one of the day, but I am now. I'm ready to be one of the day, so I'm one of the day. So next time you say they say this, remember you're including me in that. So be careful what you say, because they might come after you then, and then I'll tell you'll be up the shit creek without a paddle, up the shit creek, which is good, because if you don't have this is a load of bollocks too, isn't it? Absolutely. I think I might be over caffeinated, and not necessarily in a good way. Anyway, on with the show. Two elephants walk into a bar. One of the elephants goes straight up to the bar counter and says, "Hello, can I have a pint of your finest liquidized elephant tusk, please?" And the man behind the bar says, "Is this some sort of a sick joke?" And the elephant says, "I don't know yet. I suppose we'll see. We'll find out as it goes along, as the story develops." And the man behind the bar says, You of all people or creatures should know that it's illegal to process elephant tusk or sell them in any way, shape or form in all civilized countries." And the elephant says, "That may be the case. Well, if you've got elephant tusks there's no point having them go to waste. There's one thing I hate more than dismantling elephant tusks. It's wasting elephant tusks after they've been dismantled. And if you've got elephant tusks in there, you should serve them up to me now as liquidized elephant tusk, preferably probably a half-pint glass, like a milkshake or something. And the man behind the bar says, you do realise you're an elephant, don't you? And the elephant says, no, I do not realise. I realise nothing. I refuse to realise anything until it's being proven to me on paper. And the man behind the bar says, well, paper is the elephant tusk of the non-animal world. It's basically wood that's being ripped from the trees and processed. Those trees are being tortured just to have this paper removed. So I'm surprised that you as an elephant would condone the use of paper. And the elephant says, you can be surprised all you want. It's the case. So get over it. Build a bridge and get over it. Or build a bridge going the opposite way and walk along the bridge rather than climbing over the bridge. If you build a bridge and you have to climb over the bridge sideways to get to where you're going, then you've built the bridge the wrong way. You've built the bridge sideways. And the man behind the bar says, I don't think people normally build bridges just to get somewhere. A bridge is built as a permanent thing so that everyone who needs to go to that place can go there. And the elephant says, you may well think that. And the man behind the bar says, thank you for your permission. I do think that. And the elephant says, that's fine. And a great night is had by all. Two over-caffeinated podcast creators walk into a bar. One of the over-caffeinated podcast creators goes straight up to the bar counter and says, hello, could I have a quadruple espresso and a Red Bull Cola, please? And the man behind the bar says, no, for one thing, you're clearly over-caffeinated, so much so that it's having a negative effect on your recording session rather than the usual positive effect. You're having a below standard episode, I can tell from what I've heard so far. And for another thing, Red Bull Cola is no longer being manufactured, certainly not available in Ireland, and I don't think it's available anywhere else for that matter. And the podcast creator says, oh, that's a shame. Can I have another 17 minutes of content then, please? And the man behind the bar says, oh, I've no control over that. You have to issue yourself with that. I don't sell those in here, unfortunately. They don't grow on trees, nor do they get sold from bars over the counter or under the counter. I'm afraid you have to come up with that all by yourself. And the over-caffeinated podcast creator says, fuck. And the man behind the bar says, there's no need for that language in here. If there is, will you at least put an explicit tag on your feed? And the over-caffeinated podcaster says, there is an explicit tag on this feed. And not only that, the show notes in each episode clearly state in block capitals, adult humour. I can't do any more than that. And the man behind the bar says, I suppose that's fair enough. And the over-caffeinated podcast creator says, incidentally, did you know you can support this show, which admittedly isn't very good today? It's hit or miss, and sometimes it's better than others, but you can support this show by using my Amazon links for Amazon UK and Canada and America by going to intoyourhead.com and clicking through the Amazon link every time you're going to buy something on Amazon. No extra cost to you. The show earns a commission. And the man behind the bar says, I did know that, as a matter of fact, only because I'm a figment of your imagination and I know everything that's in you, unless you choose for me to not know that. Apparently you've chosen for me to know that now. And the over-caffeinated podcast creator says, as a matter of fact, when I was dreaming up this story, which admittedly I'm doing on the fly, but no, as I was dreaming up this story, I decided that you wouldn't know any of this. So the fact that you do know it is a bit scary, unless you're lying. I don't remember thinking that I'd create you as a liar, so that's a bit worrying now. All leads me to believe that I'm even more over-caffeinated than I thought I was. And the man behind the bar says, my script has run out here. And the over-caffeinated podcast creator says, oh good.
Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats. Matchstick cats and stuff. Matchstick cats.
present to you a piece of journalistic work of mine from one of my old websites several years ago entitled Why Cats Need to Shave Their Own Sheep. I've been doing some research recently into the early days of architectural design, specifically the design and implementation of cat flaps in front doors in the mid to late 18th century. In those days, of course, cats had not yet become domesticated to the extent to which they have today, so we're pretty much talking about tigers here. Tigers took many hundreds of years to adapt to the cultural change between, on the one hand, eating a zebra which they had hunted down and killed with their own teeth, and, on the other hand, sitting on the kitchen floor looking cute while somebody empties a tin of tuna onto a saucer and pets them. Tigers are always baffled in the early days as to why they were made to eat off saucers. Saucers, they thought, are what you put under a cup to catch spills. Surely plates are for eating off, not saucers, they thought, unless they're having milk, in which case you would have thought surely that the aforementioned dairy beverage would be served in a glass, or maybe in a mug if it's warm, but apparently not, no. Then there was the ball of string issue. In their natural habitat, tigers used to make their own string by catching wild sheep, shaving them, stretching the wool on the branches of a nearby coconut tree, dyeing the wool in a subsidiary of the dye, and then selling the wool on the black market to raise enough money to buy a ball of string. Christ, this is a load of crap. I wrote this back in the days before I used to drink a lot of coffee, so this is, we're seeing both ends of the scale today. You've already seen me over caffeinated, and now you're seeing me years ago under caffeinated when I wrote this crap. Anyway, I go on to say, nowadays they're just handed a ball of string by their owners. It's gotten too damn easy. Young cats don't know how good they've got it. They spend all day lying around purring and watching cartoons. No wonder dogs get confused, and they're sometimes seen chasing their tails as if flattening some grass to lie on in the jungle. I think we need to do something about this over-domestication of animals. They've become too cocky, these cats and dogs. They've discovered that they can get anything they want just by being cute. Well, I suggest we show them who's boss. I'm going to borrow a couple of tigers and put them beside a little domesticated kitten and see which one thinks he's more believable in his role as a cat. Anyway, the problem with early cat flaps was that tigers are bigger than humans sometimes, so instead of a cat flap in a human door, they had a human flap in the middle of a tiger door, and it all worked perfectly fine until humans became tired of playing second fiddle to an animal that wasn't even supposed to be living in a house. So the humans got a couple of tigers, one male and one female, and squashed them until they became small and cute and domesticated, and the rest is history. In the future, cats will become smaller and smaller until mice are no longer afraid of them. What will happen after that is anyone's guess. I'm not suggesting for one moment that mice will become subservient to No, I'm not suggesting for one moment that cats will become subservient to mice. Mice have much better taste and self-respect than to eat a cat for dinner, but I do think that mice will eventually realise that their time has come. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the movies in the Terminator trilogy, which is now a trilogy of 4, but I wrote this in the past, but I'm pretty sure that one of these days a giant naked mouse will turn up in a time machine. Of course, is a load of crap. Turn up in a time machine and enter a diner with a large weapon to steal a motorcycle. And believe me, when that happens, we're all banjaxed. So we may as well make the best of the limited time which we have left. I suggest taking up a hobby or becoming guardian angel. Oh Christ, the rest of this is a load of crap. Something about cabbage and guardian angels and joining the circus and the evolution of monkeys, the mysteries of the cosmos. I'm not reading the rest of this crap. I'm going to cross this out on my list and make sure I don't use it again on this podcast. I'll type it in here. Used on podcast May 1st, 2013. So no more of that crap. Let's flush that out now and put an end to that. May well have one time have been a well-documented online journalist with 2 visitors to my website, but it was hit and miss, just as it is today. Anyway, 2 podcast listeners walk into a bar. One of the podcast listeners goes straight up to the bar counter and says, "Hello, can I have an extras and reruns feed, please?" And the man behind the bar says, "Oh, I can't help you with that. You need to either go to intoyourhead.com/extras or search iTunes for Into Your Head, in which case you'll come across both feeds, the main one with the new shows and the other one with the extras and reruns, both of which are free and both of which you should subscribe to. Not that that's for me to say, I'm a humble barman." And the podcast listener says, "Bollocks." And the man says, "Well, why do you say that?" And the podcast listener says, "Well, to be perfectly honest, I'm not a podcast listener at all. I'm the humble proprietor of a podcast, and I'm trying to do an on-the-fly bar story here, and frankly, it's not going very well." And the barman says, "I didn't want to put too fine a point on it, but no, you're right, and it shows very clearly what's happening here." And the podcast listener says, "Oh, I know. And the man behind the bar says, "That looks like it's turning into a song there." And the podcast listener says, "Do you think so?" And the man behind the bar says, I don't know what I think anymore. I'm not even a real person. I'm in some story. I've lost all control over my life. I don't think I even ever had any, quite frankly. I think I'm a figment of someone's imagination." And the podcast listener says, "Well, how do you think I feel? I'm an imaginary podcast listener. In fact, how do you think the fellow who does the podcast feels if he has imaginary listeners? That can't be very good for the ego." And the man behind the bar says, "I've more important things to worry about than ego, I can tell you. I've to worry about whether I'll still be here in a couple of minutes' time when he gets to the bit where he says, 'And a great night is had by all.'" And the podcast listener says, That's true. Maybe we could stretch it out a bit by doing a song." And the man behind the bar says, "Oh, that's an idea. No, I didn't say a good idea, but it's an idea nonetheless. And if there's one thing we need right now, it's ideas. Frankly, I don't have any, so let's go with that one." And the podcast listener says, "Indeed, let's go with that one. Let's see what we can come up with here. Where's my harmonica? Oh, here it is. I don't know why I have it with me in a bar, but it's a good thing that I do." "Oh, I've had too much coffee and energy drinks. I've had too much coffee and energy drinks. Oh, my breath probably stinks. Not because of the coffee and energy drinks, but because I haven't brushed my teeth today. Although there's still time. It's only 10:25 a.m. There's plenty of time to brush my teeth today. I just haven't yet. Let's turn this into a bet. Oh, fuck. Dropped something there. Hold on. I dropped my 2013 cat calendar. Hold on a minute. I knocked it over with my bongos. It seemed to have fallen over and landed on August, which is a bit premature. I don't want time to march. I'll turn it up to April though while I have it here. That little incident has caused me to remind. Oh no, May. Today is May. Today is the 1st of May. Christ, we're still on April. I'm beginning to think I don't use the calendar very much. Anyway, Where were we? We were at a song. We were at some sort of weird bar story, and it degenerated into a song. Then it degenerated into me rescuing my cat calendar from the floor under my desk, which will probably in turn degenerate into me going out and, I don't know, shooting up the town or something. It's not a song from the 80s. Calling all the heroes, shooting up the town, boys. It was probably an English thing, probably wasn't known the world over, I don't know. So anyway, suffice to say, good morning.